What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. After Sound here, bringing you Splinterlands content every single day. We also stream right here in this channel every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday morning, so come by and say hello. All right, well, we are done with Town Hall number 3 for 2023. This is the third one that we have completed on January 16th, and it just ended a little while ago, and thankfully I have some time to record this now and hopefully get it out to you guys ASAP, because there were a couple of big things in there. It started off a little slow. There was a lot of chatter that was happening. Chatter was not on the town hall, oddly enough, but there was just a lot of back and forth about the community and assault and all that stuff. But ultimately, there was some major alpha, in my opinion, that was leaked. No, not really leaked, but just talked about, and we should be getting a little bit more confirmation on this soon in the form of posts, as was teased by Aggie and Nate and the rest of the team throughout this. So that's why I want to make sure I'm getting this to you guys as soon as possible, because some people don't watch the town hall, they'll wait for the post, but hopefully if you watch this beforehand, then you'll be a little bit ahead of the curve. Now, first things first, reward cards are going to be going out of print when soulbound reward cards come. Now, 2 weeks ago, on January 2nd, Matt talked about doing a proposal, and it sounds like they're no longer going to do a proposal because Aggie just said it like that's what's going to happen. Again, we have to wait for a post, but I was under the full impression that there would be a proposal, even if it was something that had to be done quickly. But if not, I mean, I'm okay with this because I would have voted yes to this proposal anyway. And another reason I'm okay with it is because at the end of the day, when it comes to cards, that's not really a DAO thing. Like, the DAO doesn't have jurisdiction over that. DAO only has jurisdiction over SPS, vouchers, and the node license tokens, just those three things. Anything that we voted for with the DAO, like, for example, like pack burning of Chaos Legion, that was something where the team was just trying to let the community make decisions. Even though they didn't have to let the community do that, they're again, in their effort to decentralize, they are trying to give more and more things. But in this case, if they do not go with a proposal, they are well within their rights to do so. And as somebody who would have voted for the proposal, if they choose to go this way, where they just unilaterally make the decision from a company standpoint, I'm all for it. And we have started to see some of the reward card prices skyrocket. So the other thing when it comes to reward cards is that there's apparently going to be over 40 soulbound reward cards coming in, which includes summoners apparently. And we heard that we kind of knew that was going to happen. There was the conscript ability, which allows you to play gladiator cards. So again, I would have been surprised if that had been like a monster. It probably would have been like a legendary monster, but it'd be a weird ability where it's like you have to play this monster and then it unlocks gladiator cards for you. So it makes much more sense that it is going to be with a summoner. Now, what that summoner looks like, how many of them will there be? We have no idea because, again, I highly doubt they're going to go with like a neutral summoner. And if they only go with one summoner, I would assume it's going to be like Dragon, right? If this is going to be something that's super, super powerful, then maybe it's Dragon. But, with 40 reward cards at the same time, that's a lot of reward cards. I wouldn't be surprised if they have summoners for each element, but we'll have to wait until there is a post for that. And then the last thing here is, okay, I want to be very clear. Aggie didn't say that it was going to be time-based, right? And Aggie and Matt, or Nate, because Matt was not, they didn't say that it was going to be time-based. There is going to be a print run for these cards, but that their expectation is that these cards will be in print for 1 to 2 years, which I found surprisingly long. But again, they could have just been saying this off the cuff, right? We are getting Rebellion in as little as 6 months, so I can understand if they were to go for like a year. But 2 years is a weird estimate. So again, it makes me wonder where exactly they're planning to put the print rates or limits for these cards. But ultimately, we'll wait until that post comes out. But just trying to give you a little bit of information as early as possible based on what they said in the town hall. Okay, number 2. This was interesting. So Weirdbeard was talking a lot about guild alliances and where things are at for that. Now, it doesn't sound like this is going to be coming anytime soon. Like I said, I was hopeful it would be Q1, but the roadmap showed Q2. And what Weirdbeard talked about in terms of like a lot of the issues that they're facing, a lot. So let me put it this way: a lot of the issues that plague guilds right now are only going to become exponentially worse when you level up to guild alliances. And the example that he gave was an absent leader. Right now, I don't know how many guilds out there are struggling with this, where they have a leader that has just abandoned the game, quit, or unfortunately maybe something had happened to them, and so the guilds are essentially just dead, or they're locked at that point. They can't do anything more. Well, this becomes a bigger issue if now it's not just a guild, but a guild alliance, somebody that has kind of domain over several different guilds. So going back to, and shout out to Foyer, who's been kind of championing, we need to pivot to Web 3 guilds rather than Web 2 style guilds. I don't know if that's what the team is working on, but I appreciate the fact that they are cognizant of these issues. Now, I'm only in one guild, or I manage the second guild, Song of the Phoenix, so I haven't run into an issue yet with like a guild dying, but I'm sure many other people are struggling with that now. So I'm glad that the team is focused on this issue and all the other issues that might be plaguing guilds. I understand that they want to make sure they get this right. And so I'm just being patient. I would love for guild alliances to be here tomorrow, but it sounds as though before they can even get into the development of it, they need to figure out what the standard operating procedure will be for navigating many of these issues. Again, the absent leader being one of them. I'm sure there's other ones that people can think of or that they run into. Okay, so number 3, we have a community leader vote that is coming up. Weirdbeard mentioned this. Now, Weirdbeard has been hanging out a lot in salt mines. I think not necessarily out of choice, but as an appointee by Aggie and the team to just be that community liaison. And I want to give a shout out to Weirdbeard for being an awesome community liaison. But the other side of that is to have community leaders that work directly with him or work directly with the team, especially now that we have these community player proposals. So apparently there's going to be like an informal vote that happens, some kind of thing to like nominate several folks, and then there'll be like an official vote sometime next week. So again, I think that this is great. I want more engagement from the community. And so I think if there's a way that we can, just find awesome people to be the champions for the community and have the ear of the team, I think that's going to be great. And I don't know who I'll be voting yet. I do want to say that if for anybody who is thinking about voting for me or who wants to vote for me, I appreciate it. But there's too many conflicts of interest as a content creator, and then as somebody is contracting for the team, it would just feel weird. So maybe nobody was planning to vote for me, but there were several folks who were like, you should do it. And it's just like, I think there's really awesome people in the community that are like day in and day out here, and I am planning to vote for them if they are open to it and just kind of putting their names out there. So that should be coming soon, something to keep in mind. It may come as early as within the next 24 hours, I think is what Weirdbeard was saying. Okay, we are ripping through this, which is fantastic. Number 4, this is probably the most disappointing part, is that I was really hoping we'd start to get more land stuff coming out in January. And keep in mind, there were 5 like maintenance windows that we had for January. And we are coming up to the 3rd one tomorrow, I believe, but it doesn't sound like we're going to get land in any of these. It sounds like land is no longer, end of Q4 2022. We'll slip some of it into January. It is now becoming a true Q1 thing, which is what the roadmap said, but I didn't want to believe it. And I'm not even that passionate about land. It's just frustrating to me because it's like, this stuff keeps getting pushed out. So now, the new ETA for land is apparently February. And again, there's 3 things that need to happen, right? There's market functionality. There is market functionality, like enhanced map functions as well. And then the final part, which will be the surveying portion, right? So that'll be the conclusion of phase 1. Those 3 things together will be the conclusion of phase 1. Here's the thing. They could maybe potentially do all of that in one release. But the way that they made it sound and Farbertrad made it sound back in December is that those are 3 very specific steps. And, if I was in charge of it, again, I know nothing about development, so take all of this with the biggest grain of salt that you can. I would assume that if those are the 3 outlined steps, that they would want to do those at separate times so that they could ensure if there were any hiccups, they knew where to fix things, right? And there wasn't like this whole pile of land issues that would just be made worse by the fact that you were doing multiple releases in a single week. So there's 3 releases left in January. It sounds like tomorrow is going to be a very light release, according to Investigator. And so that leaves 2 more in January. I'm hoping we can get like the market functionality or the map enhancements. I think market functionality is supposed to come first. So I'm hoping we can get at least that in January, because if we don't, keep in mind, now that will be 3 weeks taking up the first 3 weeks of February, and if there's any delays, this would now get pushed into March, which I'm sure makes landowners super happy. But just trying to spell it out as I'm seeing it, because we are starting to run out of not yet, but we will start to run out of release cycles within, or maintenance windows within Q1 if stuff keeps getting pushed back or we run into any issues. And I, for all the land folks out there, really hope that we can get land out in Q1 in February now, since it seems that the dream of January is dead. So it's funny. You probably think that I'm like super salty about land. I actually don't care, because I have my 2 plots. I haven't even redeemed them for claims yet or deeds. But it's just the amount of like frustration that I hear from land is a lot. I mean, I'm sure the team gets a ton of it, but a lot of people like complaining about land to me. I'm just like, oh, I get it now, right? Like, yeah, okay, I get it. Like, I would love for land to be a non-issue anymore, so that we as a community can just move forward. Okay, number 5. This was interesting because it was a suggestion put out by Orlordo, or during the Q&A session. So shout out to Orlordo. And it was the idea of having a Splinterlands TV reward card. Now, this was the reason that this is interesting is because 1, it's a cool idea, but 2, it literally made Aggie stop midstream or mid-town hall and write it down, because he was just like, it's making my brain, it's getting the gears turning in my brain right now. This is an interesting idea. Let me just write it down because I want to think about it more. And what the idea is essentially, you can't give anything of value away through your channel points on Splinterlands TV. And right now, I think, most of the things that people will go for is like the town hall shoutouts, or you can challenge a streamer. I'm not sure what else is on there, but those are the 2 things that I see redeemed the most. But there would be an idea of rewarding people for being part of the community and watching Splinterlands TV, which I think would be great, because that would, like, if you were able to redeem X amount of channel points for like a BCX of a card, that could be interesting. Now, here's where it gets tricky, right? So as I said, there is no there's a rule, the Twitch policy, that says you can't like give away anything of value when it comes to that. But technically, Soulbound reward cards have 0 value, at least at the time of whenever they are in print. So the idea of like you're rewarding somebody in game for engaging with one of the community outreaches or outreach platforms that you have would be really cool, and it has 0 value. And keep in mind, the only way for it to get value would be for you to stake DEC or burn DEC into it in order to unlock it and turn it into an NFT. So there's probably going to be some legal stuff there. And I actually think if the team from a legal perspective was trying to stay on the safe side, they wouldn't do this. But I'm not a lawyer as well. And so I hope if Aggie brings this to the devs, to the legal team, to whatever, I hope they find a way to make it happen, because that could be awesome for Splinterlands TV, for all it would reward all the people who are there, and it might even bring many more people in there as well if there was a specific reward card that you could only get for Splinterlands TV. Aggie is very bullish on what Splinterlands TV can be. He wants it to, build out this whole like network of thing and news and Web3 gaming and all this stuff. And so as it is right now, shout out to Rondon, Splinterlands TV is like almost a year old, and there is 24-hour coverage, which is amazing, right? Like, shout out to all the streamers on there for just doing an awesome job, right? But if you want to grow this to the next level, putting in an incentive like that could skyrocket some of the viewership on there, and it doesn't even need to reach to outside. But like, someone like myself, I do try to tune into Splinterlands TV whenever I can, but it's not as much as many other folks. I know that I've accrued some channel points on there, but if there was something that I could get in game, and you're going to reward me for finding time within my schedule to spend more time with the community, like that's kind of awesome, I gotta say. So great idea by Orlordo, and I really hope that Aggie and team are able to find a way to make this happen, because I think, again, it's an interesting thought, and I hope that it could gain some traction. So those are the 5 things. There's a couple bonus items. Beta for tower defense was kind of given an ETA for February. Specifically, Aggie said that it is 1 to 2 sprints. Now, for those familiar with Agile, you know what a sprint is, but for anybody not familiar with Agile, a sprint is like a 2-week period where they try to like plan out their kind of they plan out 2 weeks at a time and then try to release something every 2. Well, actually, I should bring this up too. It's not on the note here, but Investigator was saying now that we are on this kind of like agile process, that the sprints last roughly 2 weeks, meaning that the maintenance windows may be going from like, instead of like a weekly thing where we'll have weekly releases, there'll be a major one every 2 weeks. And then on the offsetting weeks, it'll be like minor bug fixes, which could potentially be what tomorrow is. And then we get a major release with a ton of stuff happening on, what would it be? January 24th, right? So again, I don't know if that's exactly what they're going to be at right now, but it sounds like that's where they are planning to go. And so when we look back again at the bonus item here, beta for tower defense is 1 to 2 sprints away. That is 2 to 4 weeks. So that's in February. Hopefully it's 2 weeks. But I don't know where tower defense is yet. We heard about an alpha potentially being available by the end of January. So that is something that, if we're in a sprint or starting a sprint right now, we could get that by the 31st, which could be cool. But again, the difference between alpha and beta, I'm assuming alpha would probably just be something internally, and then beta would be open to those who bought the 500 packs or more. So if you have packs, or if you had bought packs and you're excited for the beta, there is a date there. And hopefully it sounds like it's just a couple of development cycles away, a couple of sprints away. And then lastly, it sounds like there is a Gladiator Ghost Card Tournament this Friday. Again, this is going to be the first of its kind where you'll be able to use maxed Gladiator cards. And again, I think it's exciting. I hope if you believe in your skills, you have an opportunity to join and consider it. And the one thing that I didn't add here that's also happening on the 20th is a Dowhala, right? Something like that. So Weirdbeard is going to be hanging out with folks similar probably to the Brawlhallas that he used to do, where he would talk about brawls and tournaments. So if you're interested in spending time there and getting more, being able to ask questions directly about DAO stuff with Weirdbeard, that's happening on Friday the 20th. So keep an eye out for that. We should be getting some more information soon. And that's really all I have. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Otherwise, I will catch you all in the next video and see you around the game. Take care.